Greetings, everyone. I'm Daniel from TAM Integration. Welcome. So, TAM Integration offers psychedelic integration support, educational events, and apparently now YouTube videos. I'm choosing to record this because I recently I get messages on Instagram and things like that, people asking questions, and I just find for my thumbs and that I can't really express what I want to express very well on Instagram messaging. I don't feel like it really lends itself to the kind of subtlety and nuance and contour that psychedelic integration deserves. So this is an experiment. If it goes well, we'll do more. If you leave comments or you keep reaching out on Instagram, I'll keep doing these. So I got a question from somebody that said that they had a visitation. They had this psychic experience where somebody visited them and had a message for them, and there was this communication and this back and forth. And did I think that actually happened, and what should this person do with this? I'm leaving it vague for privacy's sake to respect the person who reached out. So I have had experiences where I had the experience of communicating with somebody that felt very, very real, right? So when I think about this kind of thing, I think that there's kind of three options. And so one option is that it happened exactly the way you experienced it, that you had a conscious communication with another person, and that they conveyed things that you fully understood 100%, and that you conveyed things that they understood fully 100%. And I think so that's one option. And based on my experience of just having conversations with people, like that, the likelihood of that happening is low, because you could have a fight with a family member or a partner, and you know that you don't understand everything that they're saying, and you know that you're not even conveying what you want to convey properly. So the idea that like that's going to happen in an altered state through psychic communication is kind of a reach, right? You might be more psychic than me, or like the stars or the planets might be aligned. But I've had a lot of experiences where I thought I was having a conversation with a person, and then I referenced it the next day or the next week, and that person had no idea what I was talking about. I've had times when I thought a relative had died, and I was just sure, and the whole psychic astral family was sort of having a funeral, and none of that happened, right? It was all in my head. So the other possibility is that it sort of happened kind of like that, right? Like that there's some sort of connection, right? And you got some of it and you didn't catch others of it. And maybe it was just an energy or a feeling or an emotion that was conveyed. And I've had those happen too, when I've had experiences with people, and then I saw them the next day, and they would open up with, I was thinking a lot about you yesterday. And I was like, oh, I was thinking a lot about you yesterday too. And it's that sort of thing. Now, the other thing the third option is that you're processing your stuff, right? That your subconscious, your unconscious, your thought patterns were sort of emerging in a way that manifested as an experience, right? That you are processing, some stuff, right? I don't know if you have seen the movie Contact with Jodie Foster. I believe it's Contact by Jodie Foster. And what happens was she goes to another dimension and she talks to aliens. And the alien looks like her grandfather. And she says, "Are you really my grandfather?" And the alien says, "No, of course not. We just took this form to make it easier for you to understand." Right? Got it? So it's kind of what the unconscious is like. The unconscious is vast and unknowable. And for it to communicate with us, it has to use symbols that we then have to make sense out of. Right? So had Jodie Foster gone on to continue to relate to that alien presence as if it was her grandfather, she would have been missing what was really going on, right? And so I'll let that breathe for a moment. Sometimes there's a real glamour to thinking that we can develop psychic gifts. And we can to some extent develop psychic gifts. And some of us more than others. And I definitely know people who are extraordinarily gifted. But psychedelic integration is not about cultivating psychic powers, right? It's about cultivating sanity and presence and a clear mind and an open, clear, giving, empathetic heart, right? It's almost about being more ordinary in a lot of ways, from my perspective, right? It's like, what is the most natural, who is the most natural you that you can be without any artifice or posturing or masks, right? How do you kind of dismantle that which is extra to be increasingly more ordinary? So we get glamorized and then we want to believe something that is shiny and bright. And unless we can verify that, we're probably up in our heads and we might do something embarrassing. Right? You don't want to chase somebody around insisting that you had the vision that you had. Right? It's magical enough just to be able to touch a deeper part of our psyche, right? Like if you're able to go in through a journey and have a vision of a person and kind of look at them as sort of an archetype or a symbol, right? You're going to learn so much about you. You're going to be able to uncover so much of what's happening underneath the surface, and you're going to be able to make those things more conscious and have a fuller, brighter life. So my suggestion is that if you have a communication with a person, right, let that person off the hook, right? Don't even, just allow yourself to, just a thought experiment, right? Just let them off the hook. It's not about them at all. It's not real. They're a symbol, right? And so what might that person represent, right? When you are relating to them, what feelings come up, right? Is there love? Is there desire? Is that person mad at you? Right? Do you feel like you did something wrong? Right? Is there feelings of guilt and shame coming up? Right? So what needs and desires, right? Do you have a need for understanding? Do you have a need for forgiveness? Do you have a need to stop beating yourself up, right? What desires are there? Is there a greater desire for love and purpose and meaning? Things like that. What wounds are revealed, right? Things like guilt and shame. Are you inspired to take action? What actions can you take? How can you grow? Right? So these are integration questions, right? So when we look at our psychic communication with our person as a pointer to deeper issues inside of ourselves, then we heal and we become whole, right? It's like that part of us that we have externalized, right? So it's almost like we can't feel it. Guilt, shame, loneliness, isolation is so great that grief maybe, that we externalize it into another person and then we're relating to it outside of ourselves. And so the more we can ask and answer those kinds of questions, the more likely we are to bring that external into our heart, to recognize it as a part of our own tenderness and heart-centered feeling, right? And then we can be who we're meant to be, right? And so we get to have a more of a right understanding about the way things are, to borrow a phrase from the Buddhists. And so that is my thought on psychic communication and psychedelic archetypes and reading the symbols that come up in your visions. I hope that's helpful. If you agree or disagree, right? This is YouTube, so I'm supposed to tell you to leave comments, whether you agree or disagree. If you have another topic you want me to discuss, if you think that I might be onto something here, you want me to flesh out something else for you, please let me know. Of course, hit the subscribe button and visit tamintegration.com There are other videos on this YouTube channel. There are one-on-one coaching, integration coaching is available, community circles in the Bay Area, and I hope to stay connected with you guys. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Blessings. All the best.